If I've left out anybody, I'd like to apologize, but I just want to say I'm so happy to be here on this auspicious occasion of the 50th anniversary of the Giraudel Eggleston Flower Show. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. I don't know about you, but when I think of things of beauty, I think of flowers. So naturally, I am here to tell you that here in our midst is the things that create joy forever in our lives. I just want to tell you how I became involved in flowers, gardening, and so on. I was told that I was a troublesome little child. So my mother decided to teach me a few things that children do not normally learn. At the age of 5, she presented me with a packet of seeds. It was something called dianthus. People call it pinks, but it's a type of a flat carnation. Showed me how to plant it. It grew. And back in the day, I would sell a bouquet for 3 pence. With that became my liking for gardening, and I started to plant parsley. In those days, a bouquet of parsley was 1 penny. And no matter how much parsley I put in the bouquet, Mommy would say, go and take another, and a few other sprigs is not enough. But I did so. And so I developed a liking for plants, flowers, and gardening generally. It would be remiss of me if I did not say that in the heart of Roseau, my mother had the most beautiful garden. And among the things she planted was roses, that she knew the names of everyone. I remember particularly the Elsie Prunson rose, which adorned many a wedding bouquet back in the day. My dad, too, had his hands on flowers. He was one of the biggest anthurium growers at one time. And people in Goodwill would look forward to seeing his truck coming down with all the flowers. They were put in buckets that were in tires as he came down Federation Drive. But my dad, too, had another side of him. When people began growing anthuriums widely, the price of anthuriums went from $2 to $3 a dozen. My father refused to bring up his price. He says, look, I am not going to buy a dozen of anthuriums for more than $2, so I'm not selling it for more than $2. But that was my dad for you. In all of this, my liking for gardening and flowers never waned. And I have the honor to have exhibited at the Chelsea Flower Show. The Chelsea Flower Show is going on now. Maybe many of you know that. But I'm hoping for the day when Dominica will again exhibit at the Chelsea Flower Show. And I dare say it is the Giraudel Flower Group that is going to lead that. One of the things, though, is getting the flowers in a fresh condition to England, because I remember the year Mrs. Martina Kelly, I don't know if you all remember this lady, but she was the one who produced the black anthurium. And she also had a whole lot of very exotic bromeliads, which are basically parasites, but we want to call them by a nice name, bromeliads. They're really parasites. Anyway, Mrs. Kelly asked me I told her I was going up to the Chelsea Flower Show, and she asked me to exhibit her black anthurium, some bromeliads. I said, well, okay, if I'm going to do that, I might as well exhibit something. I decided to exhibit nothing that I grew myself, but something that I picked up at the road that a lot of people overlook. I know it by the name of pineapple lily, and it is individually, I guess people would say, insipid looking. But you know, it is a thing of beauty, and it is my joy. And I collect it. You can collect it on the roadsides. It's just like, the lily looks like a pineapple. It has a green, light green stalk, and at the top it's nice, bright maroon. So I brought up 100 of those as well, because we were going up, we just decided to bring stuff along. And I exhibited my Gwenpe, which was sold for £5 at that show. Now, Mrs. Kelly's Black Anthurium was quite a hit. And it pleased me to know that for once, we were exhibiting Dominica, because what used to happen is that sometimes St. Lucia would get flowers from Dominica and exhibit it as part of their arrangements. I did not like that at all, so when Mrs. Kelly offered me the opportunity to bring Dominica flowers to the flower show, I accepted it. As I say, soon from now, I am hoping that Giraudel, by next year, I don't see why not, is exhibiting at the Chelsea Flower Show. One of the things that happened, though, was the fact that when we got to Barbados on the Liat, although we pleaded with the people that they were flowers, they should take them in the shade, they kept them on the tarmac for the whole day until BWIA took them. So the flowers lost a little bit of their luster. So in order to ensure that they reach intact, we have to have a proper arrangement with the shippers to make sure that the flowers are kept cool until the other airline takes them onward. The other thing I want to talk about is the growth of our variety of flowers. When we started, we had the pink anthuriums. When my dad and the other people started, that was fine. And then there came a time when other varieties of anthuriums were introduced. And then there was the pestilence when the anthuriums contracted some kind of disease, and so it went down a little. But I want to put to you all here, and I'm appealing to the Honorable Prime Minister in particular, and the members of the Giraudel Eggleston flower community. I have been to South Africa many times, and I've been fascinated with proteas. Proteas are capable of being grown in Dominica, but we need to get them into the country. I'm hoping that if I put enough people's interests, such as the Honorable Prime Minister, his wife maybe, and a few other people, they are going to ensure that we get some proteas coming in. Proteas come in a wide variety of colors and shapes and lend itself to different soil. So the different soils are going to produce a different type of flower. But I'm asking you all to consider, please, we need to inject some new flowers into what we have, and so we can consider the proteas as one other. I forgot to mention, though, as a child, I remember when I used to go in the market. That's part of my little curious nature. They would send me to the market to do the purchasing of market stuff. I was always happy to purchase the daisies. There was first the little daisies, then you had the Michaelmas daisies, and then you had the Shasta daisies and the yellow gladioli. That was what I bought in the market to fix, and up to now you can get a few of those in the market any time of the year. I want to end by reminding everybody, let us place ourselves in the position where these things of beauty, those things that create joy, surround us. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Put your hand in the soil, and when you, like me, will see your jade, you will say, oh, yes, I planted that. Don't mind it takes 5 years to come out. Be patient. And my final word to you is that I am on a high all of this week because my vanilla is flowering, and I finally remembered how to pollinate. It's very ticklish to pollinate the vanilla, but I have done a few, and I'm waiting to go home to do the rest because some flowers opened this morning. I just didn't have time to do them. With those few words, I want to ask you to enjoy what is being offered to you. These things of beauty, those that are going to be your joy forever, enjoy them and have a wonderful time here in Giraudel Eggleston Flower Show. Thank you.
We appreciate you, Mrs. Boyd-Knight, for your inspiring and motivational remarks. We continue to benefit from your expertise. She really, really knows her flowers, but we lost a lot of plants during Maria. So PM, we're going to need some permission to import some back into Dominica. Honorable Shekira Lockhart Hippolyte, Parliamentary Representative of the Rosa South constituency is our next speaker. Pal Rep makes herself available. She listens and she throws her support towards all viable initiatives presented by the twin villages of Eggleston and Giraudel. When we describe Pal Rep as being underground, we mean she literally is on the ground. You know when Pal Rep attended our meeting on Tuesday, there were flowers to be moved from downstairs to upstairs. And guess what? She rolled up her sleeves and joined us in carrying the flowers. We were impressed, Pal Rep. Let us put our hands together as we welcome Honorable Giraudel Potipolit. We literally want to give her, our Pal Rep, her flowers now.
Honorable Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, Mrs. Melissa Skerrit, Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Senator Rayburn Blackmore, Minister for National Security and Legal Affairs, Honorable Dennis Charles, Minister of Tourism, and all my other cabinet colleagues who are here this morning, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism and other permanent secretaries, Mrs. Alex Boyd-Knight, Speaker Emeritus, the Principal of the Giraudel Primary School, the members of the Flower Growers Group, the villagers of Giraudel, Shafler, and Eggleston, media, a pleasant good morning to all. The year 1973 was indeed a momentous period in the life of these great triplet communities, Giraudel, Shafler, and Eggleston. We have not had 50 flower shows, but we see this as a golden jubilee type of an event. It was 50 years ago when, through the power of the flower, our beloved community took the nation by storm. By showcasing a world-class product, deep cultural heritage within a pristine environment with the kindest, loveliest, and most loving people you can find. One of our most beautiful hamlets within this district was christened Shafler, which literally means the house room of flowers. This speaks to the great love and high regard which our villagers in these parts have for flowers, cleanliness, and beauty. It also speaks to a sense of romance and artistry. Those before us had a deep sense for horticulture. The onus is upon us to continue in this tradition. We must walk boldly within this great corridor, the enchanted garden. It is God's gift to us, our naturally beautiful community, forever remembering our duty to our community and country. I say our because I have relatives in Giraudel, Eggleston, and Shafler. My fellow constituents, invited guests, the media, viewers, and listeners, we must continue to plow in the vineyard to ensure that this proud tradition is sustained. The three major pillars of this grand event include the flower show, market fair, and cultural heritage. It has to be expanded to incorporate new elements to systematically reset into the modern era, but at the same time, ensuring that its originality, integrity, and credibility is maintained. The traditional elements must be preserved, for they are the core attributes. I have no doubt that this tradition shall continue and will develop. I do believe that we must seek to maximize the returns of our investment. Along with this Dominican Labour Party administration, you, the people, have invested a great deal and worked very hard. I must commend you on your tremendous efforts. Let's give them a big round of applause. The community must feel the economic impact of the flower show and market fair. Each and every group and entity, resident and villager must be strategically positioned to take ownership of this important economic agro-tourism product. See this as a viable means for the incremental transformation of the entire community, thus creating the foundation for self-sufficiency. It is ours to preserve. It is ours to develop. It is ours to cherish. No one will do this for us but ourselves. We are moving in the right direction. The community is united behind this, but we still need more hands on deck. It is not too late to play your part and lend a hand and offer an idea. Let me assure you that upon the successful completion of this edition of the show, it is my intention to summon us into further action, have a post-mortem, and to begin planning for next year. Let me give you the commitment that your government and the line ministries are fully behind this project. We see it as an important channel to improve visitor arrivals and expand the agro-tourism product, effectively widening our economic base. We have to be scientific about the way we conduct our affairs. The collection and analysis of data are important tools to aid in the formulation of policy. We cannot take anything for granted, for the world doesn't seem to owe us anything. We have to become each other's keeper and stick religiously to the philosophy that all shall eat. I want the people, especially the youth of Giraudel